Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Spoil Me, covering One Piece episodes 277 and 278. In these episodes, we find out Robin's tragic backstory. And normally when I say tragic backstory, I'm being a little bit goofy about it, but honestly, it's a really tragic backstory.
Yeah.
Welcome to Spoil Me. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha.
And I'm Gabriela.
Hey! We've got a guest. It's a wannabe episode, everybody.
Yes.
Buckle up, because it's an hour and a half this time. Are you ready? All right, so as usual, I'm going to start off by asking you, Gabriela, why this episode for a wannabe? I know why, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
I feel like it's very obvious.
Yes.
This is like peak One Piece. There's a lot of amazing moments in this series. I mean, it's 1,000 episodes long. There is a lot of amazing moments, but this is peak. You get Robin, which is my absolute favorite character in the story.
Ooh,
yes,
bold. Okay,
yes, and then you get just Luffy and the Declaration. It's just so good, so good.
Yeah, I have to. So you guys know that there have been times where the emotional aspect of an episode didn't hit for me. And actually one of those was an episode you were a wannabe for as well, which was Nami's backstory and her like foster mom, basically adopted mom. And my feeling like you just could have not said the thing that you said and it all would have been fine. And it was a very frustrating thing for me. And in this, I felt a little bit similar regarding her mother denying her, but it was a lot more understandable. And also everything else that was going on surrounding it was so awful that kind of fell to the background for me. And the tragic, like the end of the island and everything that happened was really what took over. And then you get like the montage of Robin's life after she leaves. And that was the part where I was really like, this is brutal. Oh my God. And I really do wish though that they had done this before her being taken to Enies Lobby, because y'all know how much I have been like, I guess, about them rescuing Robin. And I would have cared a lot more if I had known she had this kind of self-loathing the whole time, and why. Because I've been sort of operating under the assumption she's a bad person, that maybe there are things that she regrets and she's done some fucked up shit. And so she's just like, maybe I do need to be punished, you know? Mm-hmm. And instead it's like her blaming herself for stuff. And it's like, I can understand why she does, but she's like so wrong about it. And she's also been proven right to blame herself over and over and over and over and over again in her life. So it doesn't feel unreasonable after all, you know? So that's the only thing, is I just wish they did this sooner, because it really changes everything for me.
I agree, and I see where you're coming from, but I think the point of it is that the Straw Hats are doing it without knowing her past, because they do not care.
That's true.
And that's it. Yeah, you're following the story of the Straw Hats. You're following Luffy and Nami and everybody. And they don't care about her own past. They're just doing it because they care about her and they care about the experience they've had with her. And they want to keep having with her. And that's the whole, if you want to die, you're going to die with us type of thing. Don't just go and do your own thing. So getting the backstory now, it's like, okay, we get it now. But that doesn't change things, because we still want to save you now.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing, is that the fact that they wanted to save her so bad because they cared so much was the part I didn't really buy. it just felt more like, well, we have to save her because that's what we do as characters, is we just don't give up on our friends. But I never really bought that they were that close with her, that they would, you know what I mean? Like, it just felt sort of like, I know I have to take it on at like face value, but it doesn't feel true to me. So I wouldn't have been mad if like this show doesn't really do this, is the thing. But even if we as audience members got to see some of her story before the Straw Hats found out about it, for instance, you know, because that was really the thing, was like they keep putting themselves on the line for her in a way that was like, I actually kind of would have liked it if they did know and they were like, oh, so she just thinks that eventually we're going to die or turn on her. How about we just all prove her really, really wrong about that? And they went into it purposely to be like, bitch, no, we actually do care about you and we're proving it and we're purposefully doing that. I think that still would have worked. However, it doesn't matter because it's not what they did. So let's start off here, because we begin like practically right where we had left off last time, with all of these ships on the horizon. We've got a bunch of dudes. What is the name of the island? Ohara?
Ohara.
Okay. And they're looking at one of these poneglyphs. I love one of these dudes is like, I don't like that these are all over the place. They're creepy. Why? What? It's just a rock with things cut in it, sir. Get over it.
But
what
see, but it's
baby.
But it's forbidden.
Yeah, but like, come on, sir. It's get a spine. That's all I'm saying. Get over yourself. And pretty much like that is the end of the cold open. And then we go to credits and return to the island. All of these scholars are being kept in this one spot while they are evacuating regular townspeople. And I'll tell you what, I like should have really thought ahead about what they were going to do with these townspeople, because the fact that they evacuated didn't play into the vibe I was getting off Robin in the present, like her deep fear of what's his name? I keep wanting to call him Shiplap. Shenlin? What's the bad guy with the mask?
Oh, Spandam.
Spandam. Thank you. Shiplap. He keeps like threatening to press this button and she's flipping out. And I had said like, maybe they would blow him up and he just doesn't know that. Well, not only is that true, but they will like pretend to evacuate regular people and then maybe take it back. And the way it goes in her flashback, they weren't intending to kill everybody on the evacuation ship right out of the gate, right? They were like thinking maybe we can, and then once they realized how much the scholars knew, they were like, oh, never mind. Right?
Yes. They were set on exterminating the scholars pretty much, but they were not set on exterminating the entire island.
Okay. And then it was just too big a risk, so they did away with everybody. But yeah, like I kept thinking, oh, okay, so they had an evacuation. And I was thinking that must be how Robin got away, and that they didn't find out how Robin was involved with the scholars until way later, but that they like remembered her from the evacuation ship and they were like, oh shit, that little girl, I remember her. She knew stuff. And then they were like going to go after her after the fact.
And no, it was way worse.
It is a lot worse than that, guys. I was like really softening the edges of how I thought this was going to go. It's bad. So we have this, this fucking Professor Clover. He made me so mad. Professor Clover, learn when to shut the fuck up. That's all I'm saying. He talked them into extermination. He didn't have to say everything he said. He told them exactly what they needed to know to kill all of them. And then later, when Robin says she can read poneglyphs too, he has the nerve to be like, Robin, don't say it out loud. No. And I'm like, dude, it is way past that. You shouldn't have been saying shit out loud. What are you giving her advice for? You're the one who sealed everybody's fates here. So he basically tells us all of this information and this like lost century. What is it? The void century?
Void century. Yes.
That all of this information like disappeared right around when the world government came into power. And that y'all are acting like this is all information leading to the creation of a big dangerous weapon. But actually, it's much more likely that you just don't want us to know some sordid things that you did, and you're afraid of history. So you're covering up this, like, you know, all of this information for other reasons. And then you're making it sound like we're the dangerous ones. And I'm pretty like into this concept because y'all know the changing of history is a very real thing. Like, and I like this a lot better than there's a dangerous weapon that they can make. Like, it feels like what we're doing is the weapon is metaphorical and it's just knowledge, right? The weapon can take down the world government because it's everybody finding out about a bunch of lies that they've been fed forever. I may be wrong, and it may be like an actual weapon, but I'm okay with it not being, and it just being like, you just don't want people to have the information. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the chat. It took more, as it was just that one vice admiral deciding on his own that it would just be better to kill them all just to be sure. Or I took it more, sorry. They were going to kill them all anyway, and he knew it. He just wanted to get one last screw you. We know what you're hiding. See, it didn't feel like that to me. The way it's done, it seemed much more like it's not until he says that the vice admiral is like, oh, they know a lot more than I thought. Okay, I guess take them all out.
Clover definitely, like, I don't think Clover thought that they were going to exterminate the people that they had evacuated. I think it was more of a, they are going to kill all the scholars. So yes, I'm going to tell you, fine, you can kill us. But eventually somebody else is going to come up with the same answers that we have. So just get the last laugh type of thing. I'm going to not actually reveal the thing because they kill him before he can tell us.
Yeah, he has this whole thing about like there's one particular name that he's like, I can tell you what the name is, and that is when this dude is like, kill him, and they kill him like right away. There's no the way this show tends to draw it out sometimes when somebody gives the command for a person to be executed, there's like a whole song and dance so that there's an opportunity for someone else to step in and stop it. But this time when he says kill him, he gets shot within like a second of the order being given. It's like immediate. So yeah, I prefer this because you guys know that the whole thing with it being a dangerous weapon has been kind of a bone of contention for me with Robin, where we saw the whole thing with Franky and how he wasn't purposely trying to make destructive stuff, but the fact that he chose to ignore what his creations could be used for was irresponsible. And he was like shown to be kind of careless, but because they wound up using them against his friends and family. So I felt like we were given a really clear example of why just throwing caution to the winds because you just want to know things was not a great way to be. And then that was so much of what was motivating Robin. But now that we get this and I'm seeing like the context of it and the fact that it isn't as simple as like, if you stumble on the right formula, you can accidentally create nuclear fission and make a, hydrogen bomb. It's not that cut and dried. Now I'm like, oh, okay. So I see why she's like, no, we just need to find out this information because it's being actively suppressed and was like taken out of the public record in a very purposeful way by people in power who are literally killing to keep it hidden. And that's a whole different kettle of fish. So
Yeah.
this whole fucking Clover's hair. Can we just take a second?
It's fabulous.
This is it's so what I keep thinking of every time that they zero in on his face and you can't really see the overall shape of it is that dinosaur that has the and his like little thing fans out around his head, then he spits on Newman in Jurassic Park. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So he's talking about like the fact that this is clearly some very important info because this was carved into stones that are indestructible and scattered all around the world, unlike being just put in books, which can easily be, as we see, not so easily though, because they find a way. And I'm assuming that that lake is still there.
I don't know. They just grabbed them from a burning tree into a giant lake. So
for those only listening and not viewing, Gabriela gave me a big shoulder shrug with her hands in the air. Nice emoji there. Brian Bro says Dilophosaurus. Okay. And that's not real, right? I feel like I remember reading that they invented that. That's a fake dinosaur. Seraphim says, we may have been laughing a lot the past few months over how much you were agreeing wholeheartedly with the government propaganda. Listen, they did not give me the information about Robin soon enough. This whole thing could have been avoided by the story structure, but they chose not to.
The government's side.
Look, she seemed very sus, and I stand by that. She doesn't like to explain anything. So she kind of has only herself to blame here. I'm victim blaming fully.
Yes. Yes. I mean, can you blame her for hiding everything?
That's like valid, yes.
Even the very sad montage that you saw.
My God. So yeah, we have this, if we assume they were defeated by some kind of enemy and so ceased to exist, this enemy must have remained in history from that point on. Coincidentally, when the Void Century ended 800 years ago, that was when the world government was founded. And I do enjoy, while he's saying this, that we have like this dramatic, the clouds passing over the sun and the shadows being cast and everything. And yeah, he's basically like, so this is a whole thing that just got kind of hushed up. And if we continue analyzing all of these poneglyphs, and we start to figure out that there was a country and a kingdom, and yeah, we get a sort of like a sort of mock-up, I guess, of like a really cool looking city that gives Atlantis sort of vibes, you know? Yeah. This is one of those conspiracy theories that I personally really like, is that like Atlantis is real and still either exists somewhere, or the information about what happened to them exists somewhere and is being like kept secret. It doesn't make any sense, but it's one of the few conspiracy theories that I don't feel does any harm. So I feel like I can indulge in it freely, you know?
Maybe it's being kept secret by governments because they don't want this ancient kingdom to be revealed, very much like One Piece.
Or they're stealing the technology and pretending, oh, well, we just invented this thing. But no, it existed hundreds of years ago and you just didn't want anybody else to have access to it.
Yeah. Ancient weapons and all that.
Ancient weapons, exactly. Oh my God. Have you watched Ancient Aliens? Have you ever seen that, Gabriela?
Unfortunately, I watched like a couple of episodes a long time ago, and then I realized History Channel just sucks.
History Channel is absolutely false advertising.
it stopped having history a long time ago.
A long time. Like, I remember when I finally started to figure that out, and I was just like, how are they allowed to just call it that? Like, back when I still thought there were regulations on things being honest, when I was like, oh, they can't say a thing on a commercial that's not true. Yeah.
It stopped having history around the time that MTV stopped having music.
Yeah. Oh, man. MTV. What happened to you? So yeah, Clover does this whole thing, and then he gets shot. Really terrible moment. We have everybody, like I had said last episode, that they blow up the tree of knowledge, but they really just busted open the like basement with explosives, and the tree was mostly okay. And then they really start to go to town on it this episode. And poor Robin is off to the side, just like torn between her tutor, who has been killed, and her mother, who is terribly injured, who is like crawling on the ground. This is too much trauma, combined with all of what she's been putting up with being raised by her aunt and uncle, who suck. The Dursleys.
Having a devil fruit when you're just a child.
I still want to know what the fuck with that. Because I can't tell, had she eaten it by the time her mom left? She had already, right?
We don't know that timeline. She had the devil fruit, however, we don't know exactly when she ate the devil fruit. I'm
wondering if, because like I was thinking she already had eaten it when her mom left, because one of the kids said, you're such a creep that your mom didn't even want to stay. And then I'm like, that was a little bully. Why would they care about the timing of something? They're just saying whatever. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised if like her aunt and uncle were not giving her enough to eat. And so she just went and found a devil fruit and was like, I am hungry, and didn't know what it was, which, considering that we have recently found out devil fruits taste like shit, is kind of funny, actually. But yeah, she is, this whole thing, he is trying to convince her to leave. I want a count on how many times everybody, like, throughout the episode says, Robin, you have to go. You have to leave. Robin, you need to run. Robin, you've got to get on this raft. Robin, go. Robin, leave me here. Because she is told many times, and understandably, this infant does not want to leave the only people she knows that have been kind to her, who are still alive, just to run off into the fucking wilderness by herself, because that sucks balls.
Or run to the evacuation boat with people who never liked her. Yeah, go home.
Right?
Again.
Who are fucking sitting there debating whether they should take this 8-year-old. These people are trash. Honestly, I'm glad they're dead. I'm not. But like a little bit, like that's what you get, though. Just like a drop.
Just your camp absolute justice, as you mentioned.
I'm sometimes I can be very hardliner. Yeah, I don't love that about myself, but it is what it is. So then we have this whole thing where Robin sees her mother and finally puts it together with who she actually is. And she's like, are you my mom? She's asking, but she knows. And one of the agents, is he a CP9 agent? The one with the fucking hair?
The long hair and like the cape and the tie? Yep.
Yeah. He has been listening and sort of chimes in like, wait, is that your daughter? And this is where, when I say that, I like kind of had mixed feelings about this, because with Nami, her mother could just have denied her and stayed alive, and things might have been fucking fine. And taking the symbolic route to deprive your children of your like presence in their lives feels dumb to me. However, here it was like simultaneously it made more sense, but it felt like they kind of undercut it. He's right there going, wait, is that your kid? And so immediately I'm going, oh, no, don't say that's your kid. Don't do it. He can't know that. That's a bad thing. Because I'm assuming they will use Robin against her or assume Robin knows things. Eventually, Robin just says she knows things because she's a child and doesn't know better. Mm-hmm. But at this point, she hadn't said that yet. But then her mother says or thinks to herself, I don't want her to be the child of a criminal. And says, no, I'm sorry, little girl. You must have me mistaken for someone else. I don't want her to be the child of a criminal is not a good enough reason. I want her to think they could use her against me. She'll only be safe if they don't know who she is. But being so preoccupied with whether you're a criminal, it feels just like that ship has long sailed. You are a criminal. It's fine. The world government is bad. So being a criminal is good. And I think Robin has figured that out too. So I really wanted like her internal monologue to be more high impact because I assumed the worst when he asked, is that your kid? And then when I got her monologue, I was like, oh, is that it? Because it feels like there's way worse things that could be happening if he knows than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you can add that to the long list of reasons why Olvia is just not a good parent.
Oh boy, that must be. Does he have kids? Did you say the one with
Olvia, the woman, like Olvia?
Oh, Olvia. I thought you said Oda.
Oh no! He has children. He never sees them, but he has children.
Oh, poor guy.
They I think he because he lives separate from his wife and children, so he can focus on the manga. It's
what? Are you for real?
No, it's very true. He only sees them a few times a week, month. It's extreme because he works like 18 hours a day and everything. Like it's just this man.
Okay. Look, I enjoy this material as much as anybody, but we need to do something. Can we collectively crowdfund a little vacay for him? I don't know. Figure something out. Buy him a ghostwriter so that he can just nap for a little bit. Christ.
He's taking bigger breaks every now. But still.
But how old is he now?
I have no idea how old that is. I think he started 40 something.
Oh, really? I thought he was a lot older than that. Okay. No. Well, nevertheless, that still really sucks, but I was picturing him being in his late 60s, early 70s over here.
No, so he started writing One Piece very young, like in his 20s.
Okay, gotcha. Seraphim says, don't want her to be the child of an ex. Feels like the sort of thing that hits harder in Japanese culture where that sort of thing is a much bigger deal. Yeah, this is the thing. Occasionally I'm running into this with the material is the priorities that we have as Americans, and I'm saying we as in those who are American, because not everybody who is in this chat is, but it's going to be a really, really different frame of mind. So it's not necessarily going to hit for me. And that's fine, But I do like that, at least in this scenario, even if her internal monologue wasn't what I would have liked, I believed what I was already thinking, which is that Robin is in danger if they know. So I at least had that. Whereas with Nami's mom, I was like, there is literally no reason that you did that except to be dramatic. So I don't know what to tell you, lady. You could have been alive right now. So as this is all going on with her and her mother, the townsfolk have they're seeing what these guys are trying to do to the Tree of Knowledge. They're going in and burning everything. And they start trying to save the books and create a bucket chain to put the fires out. This I kind of enjoy because in terms of talking of people having very different priorities from different cultures, and this isn't even necessarily American versus Japanese culture. It's more, we don't have the same kind of like small communities who take pride in a very specific thing as much in the world anymore, because people move so far away or move into communities, and there's just not that sense of like, I was born here and grew up here and will die here, as did my grandparents and my great great grandparents. The idea that these people are so willing to put their lives on the line for these books, there's a part of me that was just like, Americans would never. We just wouldn't. We don't care about knowledge and history. We just don't. It's not really going to do it. But I buy that the people on this island, where scholarship is such a like cornerstone of their culture, and they clearly take just huge pride in this library and being like this apex of study and knowledge, that it would be like somebody knocking down like the Lincoln Memorial or something like that, you know, just being like, no, somebody do something.
Actually, like, even the Library of Congress suddenly, like,
there you
happened.
go.
There's a lot of people who will jump into that building to try to rescue, because there is everything. Everything has a copy in that building.
And you're saying that, and I'm like, I guess there would be. I just don't have as much faith in that, because I guess I just have lost a lot of faith in my fellow Americans, to be honest, in general. But I think you're right. There are people who would.
Cultural symbols are big everywhere. I mean, France, when Notre Dame was on fire, people were there.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
In the building.
Yeah.
Cultural buildings, especially this type of thing that, like, is a big piece of identity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And these, we're talking about the Library of Ohara. Like, they have such pride in their scholars. They were saying it as they were like, why is the Marines here? We're very proud of them.
Yeah, and why are the Marines here is a question that some Marines are also asking, as it turns out. What is the giant's name? Saul?
Saul
is AWOL. I'm sorry, I just started to like giggle a little bit. Just the fact that there was just a giant that was like part of the Marines, just as like a normal thing, is so weird. I don't know how like a giant just enlists. And especially like he was telling Robin, I'm not like those other giants. I'm a peace-loving giant. I'm like, you were literally in military, sir. What are you talking about?
But Marines are peace-loving people.
I'm just saying. Look, he's out here just like, look, I know we have to kill some people, but we don't have to kill every people, do we? But yeah, he finally decides, like, when he's told we have to take out this entire like ship of people, and not here, but like there's a whole other instance where they go scorched earth like this. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, do you have a reason that you're going to explain to me? Mm-hmm. Which, it really, if we were going by the rules of how military actually works, he would probably have been like discharged just for putting that fight up and demanding a reason. Because usually you're just not allowed to ask that sort of thing. You're told what to do. And unless you are asked to give your input, you keep your thoughts to yourself. But he is kind of horrified by what it is they're asking him to do. And just like, this just seems really extreme, guys. What is going on?
I think it's really interesting because you get your 3 levels of Marines, I think, in this set of episodes. Because you have Saul, who is the, no, that's insane. Why the heck are you doing that? I'm leaving and I'm going to go help the people. Mm-hmm. And then you have Aokiji as a vice admiral.
Right.
Who is like, fine, I'll obey the orders because the scholars are a danger. But then when it gets like, oh no, we're not just going to kill the scholars. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna kill everybody. He's like, hold up. There is a limit here. And then you have your absolute justice person, that's Sakatsuki Vice Admiral, who is like, yeah, no, might as well exterminate everybody. Why are we letting... You don't know if scholars are in that evacuation ship. Let's kill them all.
Yeah. The Vice Admiral, what is his name?
His name is Sakatsuki.
Sakatsuki. Okay. Is he a voice? His voice was familiar. Is he the same voice actor that did fucking Full Metal Alchemist? Oh my god.
I have no idea. I don't know in English if he's...
Fuck. If anybody's listening, you know what I'm talking about. The big bad. Well, he turns out to not be the big bad, but like you think he's the big bad.
Is he voiced by Wrath? That would be interesting.
Yeah, Wrath. Thank you. Yes. It sounded like him, but I may be wrong. Yeah, and Aokiji also, it turns out, I really like this later, when the one dude is like, yeah, we were going to give pursuit after Robin, but then it was like our ship got stuck in ice or something, and he's like, wow, yeah, really weird. Who could tell? Just a complete coincidence then. It's inexplicable.
It's very clear that the admiral in charge just like, he knew.
Yeah.
You can
he
see
seems to be like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he just let it.
Yeah. Aokichi, like, I also did enjoy seeing him in a flashback because I didn't recognize him right away because he has a different look. And I was like, who is this guy? And then he used his ice power and I was like, oh, it's that guy. Oh shit. Okay. Which also makes so much sense. Like the reaction Robin has when she sees him, because this man was, it's one thing to like just run into a person who's been after you in general for a lot of your life. But this man was literally on the island the day it was destroyed and essentially told her either find a way off the island yourself or stay here and die. I don't care. I gave you a chance. That's as much as I'm going to do. And that really, like, this man will be embedded in your memory until the day you die. So it makes sense that she sees him sitting there and just freezes up completely because, yeah, this dude is very significant in her history.
And he told her, like, next time I see you, I'm not going to let you get away.
Yeah.
He gave her that warning.
But he did kind of, though. He did kind of. I think he's a little bit more of a softie than he wants to admit. That's all I'm saying.
His heart is not frozen.
I hate you.
I had to. It was right there.
Oh my God. So yeah, we have all of the scholars that are like tossing the books into this lake because this one guy, as he says, well, it's better they be wet than just be like burned to ash. And I was like, I guess he has a point. That's true. And finally, Robin's mother, like Robin comes toward her and is like, no, I know it's you. And she starts talking about how like I became and this I really liked. I became an archaeologist so that I could go with you on your adventures and your jobs. And I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Because I'm just thinking that she just like is a prodigy and just kind of obsessive because she's interested. And the fact that she's like, no, I'm doing this so that I have a reason that my mom will want me along. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually, to like become, you're abandoned by your parent who left you for this particular topic. And of course you become obsessed with that topic, like naturally.
Yeah. And she heard that dude when Olvia was leaving and getting on the ship. And the guy was like, your daughter's only going to be a distraction.
Right,
so
right.
Also like, as much as she might have been just like 2 years old, that's something that gets stuck in you.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how can I not be a distraction? I'm gonna be able to help Robin.
So, and after all of this and talking about how like I just want to like hold hands and walk down the street as a family, like all of this stuff is just really, and the voice actress, I gotta say, like, because I listened to the dub, she's really good. And she just like was really getting me in a couple spots, and I felt it, especially when she finally screams, "I want to live." She put her heart in that scream. She meant that shit. It was like a really raw sounding the way she screamed, and I was like, "Oh fuck, man, that really hurt."
Natasha,
what's that?
Did you tear up?
Oh, I definitely did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I actually thought that I was going to full on cry at one point, and I just missed, but it wasn't because it was like got less sad. It was just because there was more information coming. And so I got distracted from the sad thing because I was like, wait, what? And just, basically got like sidelined and distracted into something, which is a really surefire way to keep me from crying, is to just distract me. Like I'm a baby with a rattle, and I will totally just simmer down and be like, rattle, what? But yeah, I definitely teared up like a few times. When she was talking to her mom and telling her like, I just want to be able to like be a family. And when the scene with Saul himself, and he's like trying to get her to leave, and he's doing his like weird laugh and trying to get her to laugh. Yeah. And then once you see like the montage of everybody who has like betrayed her, or if not betrayed her, they've been like pulled into something because of their relationship with her that they wouldn't have been otherwise. And her just like exhaustion.
Or just straight up wanting to sell her up to the government. Yeah.
That one old lady who's like real sweet, and then is like, here she is, where's my money? I was like, you cunt.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were a few different times, and I really do like, Saul shows up, and I'm like, oh, her friend Saul, and then her mom is like, the fuck are you doing here? And I was like, whoa, what is your problem? And then you find out who he is, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fair. I think you have a right to want your help. We don't like you. And I also want to mention, this is so unimportant, but the Vice Admiral has a goat.
The Admiral, yes, he has a goat.
It's the Admiral, not the Vice Admiral? Okay.
Yeah, because so the two Vice Admirals that we see, actually three, because technically Saul was a Vice Admiral too.
Oh, so I didn't realize he was that high up. Okay.
Yes, he was a Vice Admiral who just quit. So it was Saul, Aokiji was a Vice Admiral there, then there's the Sakatsuki dude, and then their Admiral was
when I said that the Vice Admiral was the same voice actor as Wrath, I might have been thinking of the Admiral. That might have been the one.
According to Seraph.
Oh, it was Sloth. Okay. Check the Admiral? Who is his voice? I'm just like, because I could have sworn. But it doesn't really matter. But yeah, this goat, he's just feeding him paperwork, I guess. Like he's a shredder. I like it. As somebody who has worked on a goat farm, I'm very like partial to goats personally. They are very smelly, but in a way that like grows sort of weirdly comforting after you grow used to it. And they will just chew on anything, and they don't necessarily eat it, but they'll just sort of like gnaw for a long time. Yeah. There was a couple times I was wearing like an apron, and I had like stuff in the apron pocket, and they would just latch on to the like top of the pocket and just yank it open. And so it just went flat and everything came flying out. And I was just like, that was like industrial grade stitching. How did you just yank that? They're very strong. They will knock you on your ass, and they will barely break a sweat doing it. Anyway, I love goats. So does this goat have a name? Do you know?
I don't think you've been told. I don't think you were told the names of the goat or the admiral. So I am
spoil the goat's name. Wow. Yes. That's
honestly,
really
I just don't actually remember the name of the goat.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I don't remember them mentioning it, so that's
yeah. So yeah, we have, like I said, this scene where he's like telling these dudes capturing them is enough, and kind of saying that he doesn't want to go through with this thing that they're planning. This is a whole other situation. And then he takes what's Robin's mother's name again? Olvia?
It's Olivia, but without the first I.
Olvia. So he takes her and bails, and he is the one who got her out of there, which is pretty wild, actually. Like, you know, I'm just thinking, I don't think I quite realized that she had even been arrested. Did we know that information? Or that, like, she was in custody at one point? I think I just had thought she was sort of doing her thing on the run and hiding, but apparently the Marines, like, had her in custody at one point. Oh, Brian says, I can't remember his name at the moment, but the dub voice actor for the Goat Admiral, which is what he shall be known as henceforth, by the way, recently passed away.
Oh.
That sucks. Okay, so then we have the fucking people who don't want to take Robin on the ship, and all of this is just so fucking, like, ugly to watch because they're genuinely arguing about this 8-year-old and whether they should bring her on. And then it turns out to be quite a lucky thing that she didn't get on the ship because they just fucking torched the thing.
Yeah.
It is... I really wonder, like, I know that she is horrified because she is a good person, unlike myself. But I really do wonder if part of her was like, what did you get? Because, I mean, it'd be hard to not hold some resentment for the fact that everybody... It would be one thing if your aunt and uncle mistreated you, but the rest of the community at large was kind of, like, supportive. She had the support of the scholars, but it seems like otherwise the townspeople were kind of just like, fuck her. You know?
I don't know. I don't know if she was happy at any point about it, but she was blamed for it for 20 years.
Mm-hmm,
so,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that went into severe depression.
I mean, is she blamed? Well, she's blamed for it after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
She's blamed for everything.
But, like, what? Because that, I guess that's just like the narrative the Marines are spinning, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what the government said, that she destroyed a bunch of ships and everything because devil fruits, because everything. They're not going to go around telling, oh, they knew stuff that they're not supposed to know. So they go delete it. No. They just...
That's right. I had forgotten about, like, the way the narrative started. And the thing is, because children on this show can have absolutely wild abilities and strength that regular kids don't have, when they say, like, oh, she destroyed a bunch of ships when she was 8, I believed them because I have seen that in this universe that is a thing that could happen. You know, like, we saw what Zorro was like as a little kid, and if you told me he destroyed 8 ships, I'd be like, probably. Yeah. So I believed it. But yeah, the fact that they just, like, whole cloth have just invented how diabolical she is. I have to say, Aokiji, I said, like, he's a little bit more of a softie than he wants to let on, but he really fucking lied to the Straw Hats when he knew Robin's genuine situation. Like, all things considered, the way he framed her to them is pretty malicious.
He said that everybody who comes in contact with her just dies.
Yeah, she's always the only one to get out alive.
Yes.
And maybe you want to, but he does it in a way where he's like, maybe you want to ask yourself why that is, or something. Like, he's heavily implying that she's a snake, you know, and he knows the impression he's giving when he says that. He is implying that it's, like, purposeful.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I am really side-eyeing him for that because, dude, come on.
But see, why is he doing that? Any
Because
fears?
he's
Any...
a dickhead that I don't like. Is that not
Okay.
reason enough? That's it. End of.
All right.
So, okay. We then have this, the confrontation between Aokiji and Saul, because Saul is, like I said, AWOL. So they're going to have to deal with him. I don't recall, is he just on the island as they continue to blow it up? What happens? Do we know what happened to Saul?
He gets frozen by Aokiji.
But that doesn't necessarily kill him, does it? Because we've seen her get frozen and she's okay.
But the Straw Hats needed to get thawed by Chopper and everything in order to get out of that ice.
True. Yeah. Wow. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
I hope that I'm gonna hold on to hope that because this show doesn't really like killing people very much, that he is still alive somewhere. I'm gonna assume that her mom is definitely actually dead.
Parents. Just parents.
Parents, right? Yeah, it does seem like he's like, well, we kind of have to kill the parents. If we don't kill them outright, we're going to at least not have them be in the picture very mysteriously like it is with Luffy and Zoro.
It's also in a flashback, too, though. It's not in real time. It's a big distinction between people who die in flashbacks and people who die in real time.
Oh. That's interesting. I guess I never thought about that, but that's true, huh? You guys, I have to say too, remember when I was talking about crying and getting on the edge of tears? My edge of tears was definitely when he's trying to laugh and he's frozen while he's laughing. That's just really mean show. That was unnecessary. I don't care for it. I feel like, why'd you have to do it?
And then you get a long, long thing of Robin just trying to make herself smile to keep from crying.
Mm-hmm. And the whole way that the animation is done here, the sky is becoming more and more orange behind him as he freezes over. So it's just a really dramatic contrast that I thought looked really cool. And yeah, we have the entire library going up. They've pulled pretty much all of the books out of there that they can, but they're standing in the midst of it while it burns down, and it looks like they're all just basically accepting that they are going to sacrifice themselves. And I don't know if it counts as saying sacrifice themselves when there is no way off this island. You're not going to be able to save yourself, but they're not even really attempting it. They're just we're going down with the ship, basically, which I can respect that. I, a coward, would be jumping into the lake along with the books, but I respect the fact that they're just why? No, we're good. So then we have this flashback of all of the experiences that Robin has had on the island that were good. And the one that really got me here was the birthday party that the scholars throw her.
Yeah.
That bummed me out so bad. These scholars were her family.
Yes.
They were the only ones.
She thought she was going to get reprimanded by Clover when she went and grabbed a book. And instead he's like, I'll teach you things. You can grab whatever you want. I cry every single time I watch these episodes.
So then, yeah, we have this old lady who gives her up. We have this family that they are talking about how she works hard even though she's small, and then they're discussing how much her bounty is, and it's a risk to have her in the house, and they could really use the money. And then she takes off in the middle of the night. There's this dog, you guys. This dog is crazy looking. He looks like if you took just like a potato and you just like carved little legs out of it and little ears out of it. He's just like a bean shape with just these tiny, stubby little. He looks like a Pokemon, actually. Now that I think about it, I love him. And can I tell you, I want this dog to show up again. I don't think that's happening. I don't think it's important to anybody but me. But I now have a dog. And now I am obsessed with dog storylines because it's just part of my life. So the instant that this little guy showed up and she was like, "You're hungry? I'm hungry too." And I was just like, "Oh, please just take this dog with you and become friends and have a doggy sidekick forever." But she doesn't. She tries to do the little laugh for him. My God, you guys. And then we have like this pirate king who tells her, "Do chores and I'll feed you and take care of you. I'm also a wanted man." But as soon as they come under attack, he's like, "Oh, they're here for Robin. Hand her over." And he basically calls her a jinx. And we see her running off. We have somebody yelling at her, "Your sin is being alive."
Yes.
Which is what Aokiji said. Her existence is a sin. But that wasn't him saying it, right? Is that anybody significant? I think it's just like random people that have been shitty to her in her life.
I think that's just what she's being told all of her life. But I think that's what, like, the Aoki sort of connection with her. Because at the very beginning he says, "Let's see if this spark," or I'm trying to remember what's the exact word that Saul used. That he said that Saul, let's see if this spark that Saul left behind is worth it.
Gotcha,
and then
okay.
you get to see him when we meet Aoki for the first time. Then you have him calling her, like, her sin is being alive. And then he's like, "Do you people understand who you allowed in your crew?"
Okay,
Type of
gotcha.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing that Aokiji is doing here. Just
I enjoy the drama of the moment when Crocodile turns around in his big swivel chair, because, you know, honestly, I really wasn't holding it against her too bad that she worked for Crocodile. I was just kind of like, well, you know, we make mistakes, and y'all know I had to respect the competence of that man, especially considering how many fucking villains we have met over the course of this series who really just don't know what they're doing. I was like, well, if you're gonna just be a mercenary like Robin, you picked a good dude to work for, at least. Like, I can respect that. So I wasn't holding it against her anyway, but now knowing everything that she had been through, of like, he must have seemed like kind of a godsend, because he genuinely seemed like the type of person who would have had her back if things went, because she was valuable to him, and he seemed to like respect the work she did because nobody else could do it. You know what I mean? Like, reading the poneglyphs, there was literally nobody that could replace her, and he really seemed to value that appropriately. So I don't know. I was just sort of like, oh, okay. So like, teaming up with him, not only does it make sense, it was a good call, you know?
Mutually beneficial partnership, I'll say. I do find it interesting, like, at what point did she went from just being kicked out of crews and being mistreated like that to be like, I'm just gonna use these crews for whatever I need to use them to get where I need to be. And then she meets Crocodile, and it's like, hey.
Yeah, the fact that she can read poneglyphs is like a benefit. That's like exactly what he's looking for. Whereas with everybody else, it seems like that was never anything anybody else needed. She knew how to read them, but that wasn't significant. And it seems like she's been trying to sort of pursue the poneglyph thing in her free time the whole time. So the fact that she found somebody who was like competent and interested in finding more as well, it's a nice team up.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. She is then meets the Straw Hats and kind of helps Luffy and teams up with them. And then we come back into the present, and she is telling Spandam. Thank you. I'll never remember it. It's a weird name.
Just call him Shithead or whatever else you want to call him.
Okay.
He doesn't deserve his name.
He really doesn't. But she explains to him everybody was killed. Everybody. Like, they didn't care. And he just can't wrap his head around that. He says something about how he's a VIP. And I was like, sweetie baby. No, you're not. You're barely P. Never mind VI. The dude with the cape, he did manage to get away because he's talking to the admiral later. So he didn't get killed with everybody else. But they were firing on the island while he was still on it. So It was very clear, like, if he didn't hustle, they would have killed him and they really would not have given a shit.
They were not going to wait for him. They were not going to make efforts to rescue him. If you get out, you get out.
Yeah. So, yeah, Spandam is just really sure that that's not going to happen. And I honestly, a part of me was like, I want him to not know that and then be brought back down to earth with a crash. But there's no way to have that happen without everybody else also dying. And I don't want that, I guess. So, but I am looking forward to him getting his comeuppance quite a bit because he's just he's such a, like, coattail rider. You know what I mean? Like, he has nothing. You know what? He reminds me a little bit of, like, Elon Musk. Where Musk, he had got this reputation for, like, being really smart and good at stuff. And then the more you learn, the more you realize that he just took credit for shit and never had anything to do with the real, like, practical aspect of invention or contribution to ideas. He just, like, bought something. And then somehow he was the one who made the thing. And it's like, no, he had nothing to do with it. He just had a lot of money. And that's sort of this guy's deal. He's just like, the government is giving him certain privileges, but keyword is giving. Like, he doesn't have any real skills or special abilities that earned him this position. And I can only imagine that he's like somebody's son. This is nepotism. That's my assumption.
He's a nepo baby. Definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So then we get Robin, who is saying essentially, like, I don't want you guys to come and get me because the longer we're together, the more likely it is that my past is going to catch up with me and you guys are going to get taken down. And y'all already ran into the whole, like, Aokiji, and one of you got frozen. That was already, like, you had a brush where one of you almost died. And I am not going to have that happen again. I'm a burden to everybody. And eventually you're going to dump me because I'm too much of a burden, or you're going to betray me because you need money. And I just would rather actually die than, you know.
She cares too much about them. She's just...
And everybody is like, wait, oh my God. And Zoro says, okay, now it makes sense. And there's all of this, like, slow pan between everybody as this awful thing sinks in and they start to understand her and realize, and it's very heavy. And then you have Spandam just and I'm just like, sir, can you fucking not right now? We're having a moment. We don't need you interrupting with your manic. And he's like, now it all makes sense. Shut up. This doesn't have anything to do with you, sir. Get out of here. He's very tiresome. He's standing in this way with, like, his legs spread and his knees bent really far apart, where he looks like a Looney Tune cowboy about to, like, draw on somebody, like the bow-legged. You know what I'm talking about?
He's the kind of man who sits on the bus or the metro with his, or in the movie theater with his, like, legs wide open.
Oh my God. He's a man spreader.
Yes.
100%. And then he's like, everybody, you have no chance of winning. Look at that flag. It represents 170 countries who are all working together, and you are powerless to fight against it. And I was like, all right, sir, I don't know how to tell you this, but they killed, or I guess just took down 5,000 of your guys. I don't think you're going to be dissuading them by pointing to a flag. I just don't think that's going to do the job. If you decided to unleash CP9 on them right now, maybe. But all you're doing is just posturing and being like, that flag is important. And I'm like, have you not learned anything about who you're talking to? They don't give a shit, man. You're weak. They sense you're weak. All your guys are on their backs out there moaning and sad because they're very good and your men are very bad. And then Luffy's like, oh, nice flag. Sniper King, do me a favor. And we get this just beautiful moment of Usopp firing this like new version of his weapon. His slingshot is Kabuto. Behold its power! Special attack! Firebird Star! And this thing is like a phoenix. It's so cool. Yes. And it crashes into the flag and burns it up. And I just, Spandam is looking at that. I'm like, dude, how are you having more of a reaction to them burning your flag than to the fact that they took down 5,000 of your guys, Spandam? Sir, I just don't think it's sinking in. He's very dumb.
I do want to point out that Usopp, like, shot the flag. Usopp was like, I'm afraid of everything. I don't want to fight big people who's going to come after me. He declared war against the world government.
I love this so much. Luffy summons him and he immediately just steps up and is like, yo, word, you need me? Yeah, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. No hesitation. No, like, are you sure? It's just, I'm on it. And he succeeds first try. There was a part of me that was like, are we going to have poor Usopp like fire on this and then miss? Like,
he's an amazing sniper.
He's a sniper king.
And he, as Kratos just says, he will declare war on the world for his nakama, for his friend.
Bless him. It's just very, like, it's just such a nice moment. You guys, you do not know how much I'm looking forward to Luffy and Chopper finding out who Sniper King is. I am so excited for that. Like, I don't know what it's going to be, but, and it might not be given like as much, time as I want it to be, because I would like it to be a big thing, but I am very much like primed and ready. And I assume it's still going to be a little while, and I'm fine with that, but it's on my agenda of like looking forward to very much. And yeah, we have like when he hits that flag too, it's like almost a I'm trying to think of what the word is. It's like a boosh that goes out from like the impact point, like an atomic bomb, I was just like, that might have been overkill, to be honest, Usopp. But nevertheless, yeah. And everybody is basically like, wow, okay, so they have just decided that they're going to declare war. And I'm like, indeed, I really kind of thought that was evident already based on the fact that they have invaded this high security facility. But okay, if the symbol is what you needed, then there it is. And this is when Luffy says to Robin, we're coming to get you, but you have got to do one thing. Say you want to live. And it's a long beat, and she finally screams, I want to live. And it's so good. You guys, it was so good. It was so good.
It gets me. It's just, and just the trauma of Robin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to live the delivery. I can't tell you guys that dub, and then like come and get me and take me with you is the way she says it in the dub, which there's something about the request now that they come and get her that really hit for me, you know?
I can remember. I think in Japanese it's something like, I want to go on adventures with you.
Yeah, I think it just, the subtitle said like, take me to sea with you. Let's see. Mm-hmm. I want to live. Yeah. Take me to the sea with you. Mm-hmm. But I really did like the change in the dub, because the fact that she's just like been refusing their help, and now she's actively asking for their help in getting out of this. Mm-hmm. There was something about that I was like, that's powerful. As somebody who has a lot of trouble asking for help a lot of the time, mm-hmm. saying the words, I need your help, is really hard, you know?
Acknowledging that she likes them, that she wants to be with them, mm-hmm. and that she's like, I think this is like, it's like Nami when she's like, she was so used to doing things by herself, fighting her own battles, and then suddenly it's like, Luffy, help me. Yes. So that you get, and it's a really nice parallel of Robin also like for the most part she didn't need anybody. She was this badass assassin who could do whatever she wanted. Mm-hmm. And she finally reached a moment when she's like, you know what? I want to be with people.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we have a great moment of fucking Franky sobbing, crying, saying, I love you guys so much.
We are all Franky.
I love Franky so much. You guys, I'm so happy that he has turned out to be this guy, because from like almost the moment we met him, I was like, I don't know, I can't be mad at this dude. I don't know what it is. Like, initially he had that weird star mask, and so I wasn't getting anything off him. Then he took it off, and I was like, I like this guy. What am I supposed to do here? And I'm just very gratified that we have like turned this corner here, and he is over here just like, I'm going to write a song about it. Oh, he's delightful. And then we get a really nice moment of Luffy, and he basically like just puts his hands together and literally cracks his knuckles and is like, all right, here we go. And I was just like, oh shit. And then it ended, and I had to stop because it was only 2 episodes this week, which is fine, I guess.
What episodes?
Yeah, very, very big episodes. Yeah, and I was really glad too, because like this morning, so earlier today I lost power, mm-hmm. and it was right around like 11 a.m. And normally I don't sit down to watch until like 2 o'clock. I try and do the watching pretty close to the recording so that it's really fresh, and I have like kind of my reactions are still very much based on immediate response instead of thinking it over too much. But for whatever reason this morning I woke up and I was like, I want to have a fancy tea party as my breakfast with like some nice tuna melt sandwiches and a big pot of tea. And I'm going to light a fire in the fireplace, and I'm going to watch One Piece and just enjoy my tea. And I didn't even really think about the fact that because this was a wannabe episode, it probably meant these were going to be important, high impact episodes. I was just like, this is what I feel like this morning. And then when I was watching, I was like, this is like the best episodes to have done this with, so that I'm just like fully immersed in this like cozy moment going, oh my God, Robin. It was just very good, like the way it all came together. And then I lost power, and I was like, I'm so glad I watched those already, because oh my God, I would have been, it came on like an hour before the recording, and that would have been too long. Is there anything else that you want to like talk about with this?
Well, I was going to say that you have no idea how much I was looking forward to today's wannabe. I've been looking forward to today's wannabe since the very beginning of the
I can understand that. Yeah.
This is peak One Piece. And there's other peaks. There's absolutely other fantastic moments. But it's just amazing. And
especially considering how like salty I was about Robin.
Exactly. So is your mind changed on Robin?
Oh, totally. Completely. Oh yeah. Completely worked. And I'm really glad, because like sometimes you can tell something's supposed to change your mind and you're like, I guess, but it didn't really. But this one completely did. It worked, and I'm just like 100% Team Robin now for sure.
At the very beginning of like this arc, you also said that you didn't want anybody else new to come in until you got Robin's backstory.
Did I?
Yes.
Well,
so we were all like, ah.
It takes so long. It's been like 2 arcs.
But
3?
But I also think that that's like, it's part of it. It's like, you get the Straw Hats bonding with Robin in Skypiea, and then you get the, but is she really like worth being in the crew type of setup?
Mm-hmm.
Which I find really interesting. Like, if this had happened before Skypiea, like, why would they go through such lengths for Robin when she's only been there for a couple days?
Oh, you mean like if she got captured by the Marines?
If this entire Water 7 Eddie's Lobby section had happened.
Oh, yeah, no, it couldn't happen that early.
Yes. So, but you have an entire bonding experience when everybody goes together to Sky Island.
I think, like, because I get what you're saying, but it wasn't working for me. It clearly wasn't working for me because, like, she's even apart from them on the island. She goes off and does her own thing by herself mostly. So even though they bond in terms of having been there together, they're not with her for a lot of it.
But that is very purposeful in some ways because she doesn't even call them by their names. She calls
right.
them by their roles. Navigator.
And that's what I think is hitting weird. Is like they want me to see the crew as having like seeing her as very important and bonding with her, but they also are showing very purposely that they didn't bond and that she isn't connecting with them. And so I'm just kind of sitting there like, I can see that you all care about her and you're willing to put yourselves on the line for her. And personally, I don't really get why, because I suppose, you know, and like, I appreciate that they're meant to be characters that it doesn't take that much for them to be willing to put themselves on the line. But there's also a part of me that is like, I don't know though. You could have been chumps. What if she was as bad as they said? You
were fooled by the barriers that Robin herself put between her and the crew.
I was. Yeah, fully. I would have just been like, I don't know, she'll find her way out. It's fine.
Yeah. If she wants to leave, I guess we can let her. But no, we're going to fight for her.
Yeah, I'm really glad to get a backstory on her that feels this satisfying, because I was worried, you guys know, after all this, and it felt like we were finally getting there. And I was like, what if it's not enough? You know, it could easily have just not really hit. And I would have been like, we waited all this time for this, but I felt like it was really effective.
I'm 100% with Kratos on that one too. Like, I think he says.
Oh, okay, yeah. Kratos in the chat is saying, I think part of the point is that it gets driven home that Luffy's instinct on people is always spot on. I like that as a take. Yeah, okay. He's like a dog. If your dog likes him, then you can trust him. All right. Yeah. Luffy kind of is like a big dumb puppy dog. A puppy.
All right, you want to go here? Well, let's go there.
All right, fine. That literally is what it's like taking Pippin for a walk. It's just, I guess that's where we're heading now. Cool. And the ADD as well. Talking about shaking a rattle in front of me to get me to stop crying. Yeah. Same thing with Luffy, except it's like meat.
Yes.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I wanted to mention. We don't know anything about her dad at all, do we?
No, they made a casual comment during the episode of like there was a father at some point, but
he's just like not part of the picture at all.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll be part of it. I know you can't tell me. I'm not even going to keep my eyes open and look at you to see if I can detect anything on your face indicating in any direction. But I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah. I want your thoughts too on the Boyd Century mystery.
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't know what to think here because the fact that Clover was about to say the name of the civilization, or was it the name of the city? Was it the same thing? Kingdom?
Kingdom is how they refer to it.
And basically, the Vice Admiral is like, don't even let him say it out loud. I'm like, okay, that feels like it has to be something. I say this and I'm not sure that's true. I was going to say, it feels like it has to be the kind of thing that if you even hear the name, all of a sudden a bunch of pieces are going to start to fall into place. But maybe not. I don't know. My question really is, are there any members of CP9 who would like to know about the Void Century? Because they're all out here just like covering things up because the government told them to. I want like a CP9 agent to be like, do you ever wonder what we're covering up? You ever curious about it? Because I would start to really want to know what I'm hiding. And there's enough CP9 agents where, sure, a lot of them I can accept that they're just like sociopaths who are told to do a thing and they go do it and they don't care. But there's got to be like one or two that start to ask questions. Right?
And then they get killed because nobody can ask questions.
Yeah, I guess maybe that is what happens. And they're just like, so I haven't met any because they all come to a sticky end. All right. I accept that.
It is such a secret that they destroy an entire island.
And it's from 800 years ago that the Void Century happened, right?
Yeah, it was 800 years when it ended, and you have the start of the world government.
Right. I really don't know.
So,
I can't imagine, like, I don't know. I haven't got any idea because I don't know if this is anything that I have information presently to base a guess off of. Like, I guess I'm just sort of assuming that it's going to be an entirely new set of information and it's not going to tie into anything that I already know about. But I've also been like, aware of how weird the setup of this world is. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it, like the strange map of the way the planet functions.
It's a very odd map.
There's also the D initial guys. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Like, and also, where the fuck did Devil Fruit come from?
Where the fuck did Devil Fruits come from?
I feel like I'm like, kind of like saying that things are all related things, but I'm not sure if that's true or not. I don't know, Gabby.
Don't know what to tell you. I literally don't know what to tell you.
Kratos, does this detail mean nothing, or is it super important? The story of One Piece. That's exactly it.
Yeah, but then you have the poneglyphs.
Right. Which really, the poneglyphs give the vibe that like people knew they were about to be wiped out, and they were prepping in advance, and that I find very interesting. It's not like Pompeii, where it was a big surprise that a volcano just like froze them all in place with gas, and then they died, and nobody saw it coming. This is like people seemed aware they were being targeted and were creating insurance, kind of.
I mean, it was a void century, so.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'm very curious.
I tell you, pick One Piece here.
I'm just trying to think, like, also, the One Piece, the treasure, what if it's not, like, gold? What if it has to do with this? And Luffy's out here just like, I'm going to make a big gold statue. And I'm like, no, you're not, kiddo. You're going to read a bunch of poneglyphs and then you're going to be mad that there's no gold. But I don't know. Poor Luffy. All he wants is a big giant statue. Can't he have one?
He just wants to be Pirate King.
I do really enjoy his like obsession with statues. He never even says a statue of himself, which I feel like if he were a different type of character, that's what he would want. He just says a big statue. And it feels sort of like it doesn't really, it's not important. It's just the sheer size of it. And that's what's really like important to him. But I can't tell if he would like a statue of himself or not. I think he probably would, right?
Maybe he'll sell the statue to get all the meat.
Oh my God, probably.
And then Nami will get mad, like, why are you wasting all of the treasure?
It writes itself. All right. Well, I feel like that's it for me. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Well, we're getting into the next big section. Any
Okay.
thoughts?
No. Like, I guess we are. So my assumption has been now we're going to have a fight on the drawbridge, because I'm assuming the Franky pirates are down there fighting valiantly to lower the drawbridges. But once that is done, I don't know what we do then, because the crew doesn't have their ship to sail away on. You know, like normally we go to an island, there's baddies, we take them down, we save the island full of people, and then we depart on the Going Merry as heroes and go to the next island. And now we have the Going Merry that just like got dropped into Water 7 and looked like it was kind of done for, which might not be true, but it looked like it. And we had like the sea train got almost derailed, didn't it? What happened with that?
Island.
Yeah. So like, I don't know if they can get back there anyway. And so they'd have to get a new ship from here. And how did they hide from the world government after doing this? Like, that doesn't feel like a thing that's going to happen. I feel like they'll be besieged here and have to figure out a way out. But that's as good as I got. That's the best I got. I don't know. Because this show frequently goes in weird directions that I had no idea were coming, you know?
But that's the greatest part. You never know.
You just don't know what's happening. Oh, Seraphim. A 10-foot bronze statue of a chunk of meat. That's fair. All right. Well, thank you very much, Gabby, for coming and hanging out with me for this one. This was really good.
Yes.
And appreciate you all in the chat as well, chiming in. Thank you for coming, everybody. And yeah, I will be seeing you soon with a new episode. So until then, y'all, toodaloo, motherfuckers.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.